Holy moly macaroni. How did my little video on multiple regression pop off like that? I told my son Cooper, I was like, hey, the channel blew up. He was like, oh, you mean when I pulled the Dragonite? I was like, no, my math video. He was like, how was that even possible? It was so boring. I think what he meant to say was thank you. And so I'm saying thank you as well. For real, that was crazy. The overwhelming amount of positive feedback. Thanks again. Welcome to the channel. And we got a lot more amazing, crazy things to show you, especially today. What a way to follow up last video around quantifying market forces than with a real tool to show market forces in real time that I'm building into my site, Collectrics. For the past 30 days, I've been storing eBay listing data for all of the modern Pokemon sets. Now I'm able to analyze the market trends, the number of new listings, the total active listings that exist for every card, the sales volume, putting some math behind it to show you demand pressure, supply saturation on a daily basis. It's wild. So let's jump in. First, let's pull up our handy dandy Eco 101 Venn diagram. Market dynamics, and I'll show you how it plays a role in the site. Demand goes up, prices go up. Supply dwindles, prices go up. More supply and demand, prices go down. Pretty familiar with that, right? Well, one of the metrics that we use to quantify this demand is called demand pressure. Demand pressure is the percent of absorbed supply in a market at any given time divided by the total supply. So if there's something in limited supply and it's really highly in demand, well, you're going to have a higher demand pressure. The supply side of this, so on the side you'll see supply saturation shift. And a 1.0 would mean that in the past 7 days versus the past 30 days, the supply saturation has been about or exactly the same. 2.0, well, that would mean in the past 7 days, the supply has doubled versus demand. I want to show you some examples of market cooling first. So I've been monitoring these 151 cards, and for me, like the canary in the coal mine has really been the Charmander. It saw the most significant price increase. It's also a little more of an outlier because it's not the chase card of the set, or at least, it's not the Charizard, right? First off, you can see in the past 30 days, we were definitely up and we're seeing some cooling off that's happened. If you go to past 60 days, you can see this more clearly. The trend was much more sharp, and you can see some of our sources that we're pulling in for our pricing tool had a much more marked increase. So what really happened there? Well, let's look at the market dynamics tool now on Collectrics. So we've have 353 active listings on average in the past 7 days. This is a 15% increase versus the past 30 days. Why? Well, while we see that the newest listings have decreased now in the past 30 days, our sold has considerably decreased, which has led to an overall supply increase. You can see it right here. Our active listings have continued to go up. So the way to read this chart is everything below the line are ended listings, and we're estimating the sold and unsold listings as a part of this. But you can see these are the new listings that have hit the market. Right around in the earlier March, you can see a big chunk of this, and our supply pressure was increasing with newer listings hitting the market, but they're not being soaked up, not being absorbed. So that supply has built. And as the supply has built, then surprise, surprise, our prices is going to go down. And you can see it right here in these gauges. Our demand pressure is 6.4%, and this is actually pretty elevated demand pressure for something like an illustration rare. You can also see now the supply saturation. So this is the key, as I was mentioning. So you can see we are loosening. Our supply is gaining momentum. So we're at a 1.5 in the loosening trend. So it should be no surprise that when you see these numbers, when you see supply starting to outpace demand, well, then your prices are going to go down. I mean, these are, again, our basic Eco 101 concepts. So that's one example. Next one, let's look at Blastoise from 151 as well. This one also saw a huge increase, and let's look at it. Well, surprisingly enough, we have more listings for Blastoise than we do even our Charmander, even though like you would think Blastoise, well, that's a more rare Pokemon, so it should be, you would think intuitively it would be fewer listings available. But no, what I think has actually happened is with this increase in supply, more people trying to sell off and take advantage of this market state earlier this month, that because it was fetching a higher price, that there was more of an opportunity to try and do that. That's my interpretation of it. So we have an active listings of 18% increase, and we have seen a decrease in both sold and new listings have really dropped off. So we're not seeing as much loosening, but still loosening on the overall supply saturation. Our demand pressure is actually even lower for this card than the Charmander. As I said, that Charmander as an illustration rare has a crazy amount of demand pressure for being what it is, you know, that rarity tier. And then again, shouldn't be any surprise to anyone when you see the supply accumulate, it's clear as day. Supply accumulation, watch out, there's price degradation. That's really how that works. So let's look at some cards I think are real quick that are examples of some heating up. So this surprised me to see, and I don't know what happened, but this Pikachu from Surging Sparks suddenly had a big kickoff. And I think it was one of those like, hey, you know, this has been sitting there doing nothing. The price has been stable for so long that someone decided it was time to pull the trigger, or somebody mentioned it in a video and said, this one's undervalued. I don't know. You could probably tell me what actually happened, but you can see it plain as day. The price started jumping up, and surprise, surprise, when that price started jumping up, we saw a very significant market increase in the number of sales. So again, this sales is the sales below the line. That's pulling away from the overall listings, the sales and ended volume. So here's our demand pressure. Again, this is still lower than our Charmander in the past 7 days, just meaning that there's just more supply that had already pre-existed. And so we're really just catching up now to start absorbing that supply. New listings are up. So yeah, you can see, it's funny, as soon as we start seeing a huge demand spike, you have just as many people trying to take advantage of it and new listings hitting the market. So something happened on April 4th where a big spike in sold, and then just directly the next day, a big spike in new listings. So here's our demand pressure, around 6% overall. Again, we just had a lot of existing supply on the market already, and how that supply saturation shift has occurred. So you can see it's tightening, not loosening this time, but tightening as more supply is being absorbed. We have a market dynamics tool, guys. I have not seen this anywhere else. I'm so excited and happy to be able to bring this to you. I've been working on this for the past month, and yeah, here we go. Like we're really making it happen. So let's look at one more. So this is interesting to me. So let's look at a really high demand card and what that means. So here's where demand pressure is through the roof. So we've got Gengar here is capping out our demand pressure gauge. And even though you can see we have it's just slightly tightening in the past 7 days versus a 30-day baseline. Overall, though, if our supply and demand forces are relatively balanced, but if your demand pressure is this high, you're going to see slow creep up on the price. So that price will inflate because that's just the way that the market is trying to trend. Okay, so I think that's it. I wanted to just show the tool. I think it's awesome, and I hope you do too. Now, when I post this video, it may not be live yet, so I still got some bugs to work out. So it may not be live yet, but just wanted to, again, say thank you and let me know your feedback. And this is the real deal, folks. Like, I mean, I am like whole pot committed, as they say, in the hobby, taking my profession and meeting it with my obsession. That's what I've been saying to people. And another question I keep getting is like, hey, or at least like from my friends are like, what's the end goal for this? And I'll just tell you what I told them is, I don't know. I don't know what my goal is for this. I mean, people are like, oh, you're going to monetize it? You're going to monetize the channel? I'm like, it's too early for that. I'm just doing this, and then for the website too, I'm just doing this because it's cool. And that's it for now. So I'm off of my humble box now. But that is just the way I look at it for real. One thing I just really wanted to caveat, and I'd save this for the last part of the video, not to bore you. The eBay data that we're showing here are not true sold listings. So if you go see on the site, you'll see sold estimate and unsold estimate. Well, let me explain why. eBay does not open up their Marketplace Insights API to anyone. You can start a free account and pull listings, which is what we're doing, but you cannot, they don't tell you exactly what is sold. They exclusively keep that for like their enterprise customers, and I'm sure people pay tons of money to access to it. That's not me, okay? What we're doing is we're reverse engineering our market trends based on being able to pull listings every day and analyze, Okay, here's what ones that were new. Here's the ones that were ended. Here's the price for those. And then with a lot of statistics to remove outliers and clean up the data. And then also to make it, the estimated sold listings be applicable to every card uniquely. So it's not just some base assumption. We're applying some advanced math to try and estimate for every card where the sold and unsold listings truly are. And I'm continuing to tweak that model. But other than that, thanks again for watching this video. I am so excited about this channel, excited about what I'm able to hopefully continue bringing to you. It's amazing what you can do with AI now. I mean, if you think I'm hand coding this website to this level, you're out of your mind. I would not do that. So yes, there's some AI coding happening here. Now I build data pipelines for my day job already. So all the back end of the data infrastructure was designed and built by me by hand. But front end coding and JavaScripting, that's not where I spent my college hours learning that. So we now have a way to be able to build stuff very quickly. So I've had some questions on that. I just wanted to throw that out there. It's just one person here doing this for the love of the game. So that's it. Come back for more. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.